In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to oil and clean a bait casting reel. Alright, so let's start with the things you're going to need. So you're going to need some warm soapy water, you're going to need some Q-tips, whatever oil you want to use, like having 2 rags, and then you're going to need one of these guys right here. Alright, so before we do get started, I just want to mention a gear giveaway I'm planning on doing. So it's probably going to be at like 1,000 subscribers, and then I'll probably continue doing it every like 5,000 after that. So here are some things I'm thinking about. So we have right here, it's a bait casting reel. We have to have like a backpack, a fishing backpack. I just toss everything in there whenever I'm going out. It's really, really useful. And also like a GoPro or something. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. If you do have any suggestions for anything else, just leave a comment down below and I'll figure something out. But if you do want to enter, I need you to do 3 things. Okay, so first, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment giveaway down below. Just do those 3 things and you'll be automatically entered. All right, so if you do want to enter, then good luck, and we will jump back to the video. So the first thing I'll generally do is I'll generally clean like the outside of this. So I'll take the reel off my rod, and I'm just gonna pretty much go through all this stuff in here and just wipe away as much kind of junk and whatever I can see on here as I can. So you're gonna want to get your soapy water here. And I like using some sort of cloth, so you can use like a sponge or whatever. So all you want to do is, dip it in there and then squeeze everything off. So you have like a, you have a wet towel, but it's not dripping. And then once you have that, I'll pretty much just run it over like, as well as I can. It doesn't need to be perfect. One thing I will do is I'll make sure my spool is tight and also my drag is tight, just because, you don't really want anything getting in. So if you have them tighter, it'll be harder for water to get in. It's not the end of the world, but it's not something you want to do, over and over. So I'll just take this and I'll kind of go through it and just wipe it as good as I can, going through all this stuff here. And then once everything, all the gunk sort of looks off, you want to lightly rinse it. So you won't want to put like a lot of direct pressure onto the reel, just because you risk kind of getting water in all these places. So you can use like a hose or just the tap in your sink. What I'll generally do is I'll generally like open my hand and I'll have the water go into my hand and I'll kind of just throw it over. And that way there's not really any direct pressure on here, but you just want to rinse all the soap off. And then I'll take my second towel and I'm just going to go through and dry everything, right? Just dry it as well as I can. It doesn't need to be perfect, but as good of a job as you can do. So I'll just dry it. And then once everything's dry, then you can loosen your drag, loosen your spool again, and then we can move on to the next step. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean and oil these things right here. So right in there, you'll see they're kind of like a, I don't know if they're called like a worm gear or whatever, but those things are what I'm going to clean right in there. And also the little hole that your line goes through right here. So all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your Q-tip, and I'll put a little bit of water on it. But what you want to do is you want to take your Q-tip here and you want to put it on the little gears there. And all you want to do is wipe it back and forth. So all we got to do is wipe it. And then you want to spin it a little bit. And then it's going to turn. And then just wipe it more. Turn, wipe it more. Turn, wipe it more. And then you'll also want to do the other side as well. So you can go over here and do this side here. Spin, do that. Make sure you go through all of the things. And what I'll do is I'll take my oil here. And I'll just do a couple drops. So I'll take my oil, I'll do a couple drops, I'll spin it, I'll do a couple more, spin it, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Couple drops, spin it, couple drops, spin it. And that's going to be good for that. That's one thing that tends to break a lot, or you get things jammed in there and your reel's going to break. So it's important you do that quite often. It's really easy. Another thing I'll do is I'll take my Q-tip and I'll just kind of clean out the eye. So where your line goes through, I'll just kind of clean that out, both sides. And that is going to be the second thing I do. The last thing I'll do is I'll actually take the spool apart. So all you want to do is you want to take this side plate off. So I might have this little latch here. So all you got to do is you got to come off. It'll pop off. And all you want to do is you want to take your spool. And you're going to take your spool out. All right, so you're going to have 2 parts here. And I'll start with the reel section. Pretty much you want to take, you can take your Q-tip or you can take your wet cloth, whatever you want, but you just want to kind of go in and kind of go around and just with the Q-tip, go around and just look for any sort of gunk that's kind of in the area. right? So generally it's going to be there, and there's also going to be right here in the center. So you can put it in and you kind of, wiggle it around, get any sort of gunk that's sitting in there or that's sitting on the circle there. Just go through here and just kind of look for as much stuff as you can. And then you also want to do the same thing in the side plate panel. So just pull, go around here, wipe out any sort of junk. There's probably going to be a pretty good amount in there. So you want to, kind of go in the middle there. So once that looks good and clean, then we can move over to the spool itself. And with the spool, you can kind of just go and do pretty much the same thing. Like go in there and just look for any junk that's on here. One thing is you want to make sure that you wipe this. There's generally a lot of sort of gunk on this. So just go along the rod there. And then once pretty much all of that's off, that's pretty much all I really do. I don't really mess with any other things. I just do that pretty basic stuff. And if you do kind of just do all the basics often, it's going to be good enough, and you're probably going to have a reel that's going to last a long time. But what you want to do now is you want to oil it. So we're going to take our oil, okay? And the very first thing I'll do is we're going to take the reel here. And as you can see, there's going to be this metal part right here. I'll put a couple drops of oil right in that. So all I'll do is I'll put my oil in, just do a couple of drops in there, and then I'll flip it over. And there's going to be this section right here. I'll put a couple drops of oil in there as well. And then what I'll do is I'll take my spool and I'll put a couple drops of oil on the rod there. And that's pretty much it. All you got to do now is take your spool, put it back in. And once you have that in, there's going to be this part right here, right there. You'll want to put, like, if you have grease, you can put grease on, but even with a drop of 2 oil on that, you're going to want to make sure that is lubed up somehow. But once you have that, pretty much that's the only thing that I really do. So all you got to do is put your side plate back on, close it, and then you just want to do like 20, maybe 30 wraps of this and just kind of go around, make sure everything, is going good. Get that oil worked in there. And then you just want to kind of look around, make sure there's no oil like running down. If you have like oil or something running down, just take your cloth and just wipe off any excess oil. So that's pretty much what I'll do every couple months, and I've never had any issues with it. And you should now have a nice, clean bait casting reel.